What's going on, guys? Bob Buskirk here at ThinkComputers, and today we're taking a look at Cougar's 500K gaming keyboard. Now, we've been working our way down the line of their gaming keyboard, so we've already taken a look at the 700K as well as the 600K, and now we're on the 500K. And the 500K is more or less just like the 700K, except for it doesn't have mechanical key switches. Instead, it has a membrane style key design. So let's go ahead and take a look. The Cougar 500K comes in a nice retail box. Cougar has always done a really good job on their retail packaging. So there's a lot of information. On the front, it shows a full picture of the keyboard. And then on the back, it's going to go into detail on a lot of the main features of the keyboard. So if you are at the store, there's a lot of information on here. You can really, get to know the keyboard before you go ahead and buy it. Let's go ahead and open this up and see what all we have inside here. If I can get these off, because I forgot my knife. One off. Alrighty. So now we should be able to open the keyboard up, and you can see everything inside here is just nicely packaged. It looks really, really great. Again, Cougar does a great job on their packaging. So we have our wrist rest first. It doesn't come attached to the keyboard. So again, if you want to use it, you can. If you don't have to. And then we have the actual keyboard with the cable and then a little Cougar accessories thing in here. So we'll move our big box out of the way. And we have this little accessories thing in here. Not really accessories, but a little thing. And inside, we have a set of Cougar stickers. So you can go ahead and throw these on your case. You can throw them on the keyboard itself, maybe. Something like that you can go ahead and do. And then there is a user's manual, which is in a bunch of different languages. Help you get everything set up. So taking a look at the keyboard itself, this is a full-size keyboard. So you have a full complement of keys as well as a full number pad. There's also some extra keys here on the keyboard. So if you can see here, we have a set of 5 G keys, and these are your macro keys. So you can set a certain macro or shortcut or whatever you kind of want to set it to those keys over here. These are great for MMOs or MOBAs or something like that, where you have a long set of keys, like a macro that you can easily access right there. We have our profile buttons right here, so you can kind of hot switch your profile just by hitting any of these buttons up there. Up top here, we have our illumination button. We have our Windows lock button up top here, and what that will do is, of course, that's going to lock the Windows key. So if you're in game and you accidentally hit the Windows lock or the Windows button or the Windows key on this keyboard, it's not going to function. So you don't want to tab out of the game and get killed or something like that. So you have the Windows lock button, and then we have some multimedia keys over here. So we have play, pause, stop, back, forward, and then you have mute, volume down, and then volume up. So pretty much the basic set of keys as well as those 5 macro keys right there. One other cool thing about this keyboard, it's a little different, is that the spacebar is actually made smaller. So it looks like you have just the spacebar kind of cut in 2 right here, but actually there's a 6th macro key down here that you can actually use, and then you have your key, normal spacebar right there. So it's kind of weird. It's a little different. It might take you a little bit while to get used to, but once you start using it, you'll really get used to that down there. Now, again, as I said, this is a membrane keyboard. So as I type here, not that loud. It doesn't feel like a mechanical keyboard, but I'll let you guys listen so you can kind of, get an idea of how loud the keyboard is. So again, not that loud at all. You do have some adjustment here. So you can move the keyboard up a little bit to get a little better angle. And of course, we can go ahead and install the wrist rest on if you want to. If you don't want to, on the wrist rest, you also have the the FPS palm rest. That's what they call it. And what that is, it's a rubber palm rest that, you know, of course, when I have this installed, it's going to give better comfort to my palm here, or my wrist, you know, when I'm playing FPS games. It's really what it's made for. But just like on the other keyboards, it is completely removable. You can see you can just take it off just like that. Pretty easy to use. The only other thing that I want to talk about on this keyboard is we do have a USB pass-through right here up top. So, you know, that can be used to, you know, you can plug in your mouse, you can plug in a headset, you can plug in a USB flash drive, just gives you an extra USB port. And then as far as the cabling goes, very thick braided cable. I love thick braided cables on gaming products because these are things that we're going to be taking with us to LAN parties, and you're going to be throwing them in your bag and things like that, and you don't want this cable to break or anything like that. So having the thick braided cable is of course good. And then we have our two USB connectors, and they are labeled as well. So one's labeled as the pass-through and the other one's labeled for the keyboard, and they have gold-plated connectors on there too. So we always like to see that on gaming products. And that is basically it here for the Cougar 500K gaming keyboard. Remember, this is their most entry-level keyboard. So make sure you check back very soon on thinkcomputers.org, as we'll have our full written review. And remember, guys, if you enjoy our videos, why don't you subscribe? Catch you guys later.